Hey everyone, if you're new here, my name is Eju,
And I'm Shirak.
and we are
Welcome.
Studio 70. And today we got actually a new case that we're covering. It's going to be a reactionary type of show.
But first, let's do housekeeping. This is for
Go for it.
education and entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research and always be kind to everyone, friends, family, strangers.
Sounds good to me. And you guys have been great in the chat. Thank you so much. And we're going to keep on keeping it positive. Today is going to be a good one. We're got a new, well, it's not a new case. It's been out for a while, but
Yeah, we just picked it up.
the two people involved, Lori and Chad Daybell. Lori's been in prison, but Chad is on his way there. He just got, as of the time of this recording, he got convicted and he'll be sentenced. They might be going for the death penalty. We're going to have more on that one.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
But the reason why I want to talk about this one, and today we're going to do a reaction to Dr. Oz. Again, sometimes we react because we don't want to recreate things that have already been recreated a bunch of times. We want to go through a story and talk about aspects. If you're not familiar with the case, I'll go through it a little bit, but it involves like demons and zombies.
Saying this is a crazy one.
And, you know, things you'd be like, huh? Things that make, huh? So this is a real interesting one. But before we start the video,
I think this is going to be definitely interesting to the people that definitely, have a religion, and they're going to be like, oh,
yeah,
weird.
yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Latter-day Saints, no matter what you are, you'll have some interest in this one because it gets really bizarre. Now, before we move forward with the video, we're going to do credits because, we want to give credit where credit is due if it's not our own specific work. Dr. Oz, this is Dr. Oz Show. So please go subscribe and give him love. And then this was presented via the East Idaho News.com. They're the ones that have this particular segment on YouTube. So we want to give credit to them. I'll put it in the comments. And from previous reaction videos, we've heard from people that, we tend to talk over. When you do a reaction and you need to make it your own, you have to provide enough creative parts to it so you're not taking somebody else's work. So that's why we interact and talk, but we will try to do a better job of making sure that we pause and make our comments when they're not talking so everybody can hear what's going on. So with that said, before we get in, we start doing these questions. I really like these questions, Rock. So today's question, Lori Daybell, the person we're going to talk about, and Chad. Yeah. Lori had 5 husbands, okay? How many of them are still alive? Okay. Is it 2? Is it 3?
Or is it 4?
Or is it 4? Okay. So how many husbands alive? They'll give some hints maybe during the course of this video. But if not, I guess you can cheat and pause this and look it up on the internet. But if you're real familiar with this case, a lot of our listeners are.
Yeah, they love these crime shows.
So they know. So here we go. Let me just make sure that, okay, we are good. All right, you guys ready for this video? It's Nate Eden discusses Daybell Case on Dr. Oz. This came out a little while ago, but I think it's really important because it's good timing with what's going on today with Chad.
Exactly.
So let's listen in.
It was a gruesome discovery. Doomsday cult mom Lori Vallow's 2 young children were found murdered. What did her panicked call from prison reveal about them?
They're searching the property.
The house right now?
Coming up next.
And that's the part right there when Chad's saying they're searching the property. You could tell they're going to talk about this later, but you're going to see you hear the fear in his voice there.
It's the stranger than fiction case that's only grown more shocking and tragic since we began covering it. Doomsday cult mom Lori Vallow's children, JJ and Tylee, disappeared without a trace.
Beautiful.
And she refused to tell authorities what happened. As authorities all over the country diligently investigated leads connected to Lori and her 5th husband, Chad Daybell, a string of mysterious deaths were uncovered. Now, sadly, we know what happened to the children.
For nearly 6 tortuous months, the world has been asking, where are Tylee Ryan and her 7-year-old brother, Joshua J.J. Vallow? After being questioned by authorities about their whereabouts in November 2019, their mother, Lori Vallow, quickly fled town with her 5th husband, Chad Daybell. The couple has close ties to several mysterious deaths, including Lori's estranged fourth husband and Chad's previous wife, who shockingly died just weeks before the couple wed. Some members of Lori's family say they fear she's part of a cult focused on preparing for the end of time. In January, the couple was tracked down in Hawaii. And finally, on June 9th, a warrant was executed for Chad Daybell's Idaho home.
They're going to get into, so I'm trying to pick my places to pause so people don't get frustrated when you talk over. But they're going to get into not only just a cult. I think they definitely created their own like sub-religion where she thought she was like a god or goddess. They'll get into that, Chirac.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And, this is where all the zombie stuff and everything comes into.
And a horrific crime scene was discovered in his backyard. The children's remains were found buried in shallow graves. Reportedly, little JJ was wrapped in layers of plastic, bound by duct tape, and Tylee's body was burned and dismembered. Authorities believe the bodies had been there since September of 2019. Chad had pleaded not guilty to 2 felony counts of destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence, and 2 counts of conspiracy. Lori has pleaded not guilty to conspiring to help her husband conceal the bodies. But to date, no one has been charged with the children's grisly murders.
Nate Eaton from East Idaho News has been all over the country diligently investigating this case. He joins us now. Nate, you were actually in a helicopter over the Daybell property the day that JJ and Tylee's bodies were discovered. What was that like to witness?
Well, we weren't quite sure what we were going to witness. Once we got to the house, we assumed that investigators might be inside of the home. And we got over the property, and there were dozens of police officers there in the yard. And that's when I knew that the focus was on what was in the yard. And we spotted a cadaver dog from the air. And we saw that police had put up that pink tape, kind of gridding the area around the fire pit. And that's when it became real that this is pretty bad. They're focusing on the yard.
Now, people will say, like, how could somebody who loves God do something like this? And I'm not trying to rationalize it because this whole case is bizarre the way these people think. There's a lot of shows you got to watch on this if you guys want to dive in deeper.
Yeah, but they plead not guilty.
Yeah.
So,
because in their minds, just to catch people up, they'll maybe talk about a little bit here, is they thought these kids had, like, they were possessed and that there were zombies, meaning they were just like hollow shells, that there was nothing in them. So, supposedly his mind and her mind, killing them was like doing nothing. It was just killing a shell. It wasn't killing them as their spirit. It was just killing the hollow shell that they'll not become zombies. That's what they were thinking in their in their crazy head. It's what they believed, supposedly. Is it really that, or is it really because they wanted to be together? They didn't want anybody's distractions. They're thinking maybe the daughter saw something about another murder and figured they had to take her out. Was it just a matter of them having a clear path to their happiness?
yes, I agree with that. Because Tyler and JJ, Tylee, she was older, and like you said, maybe they didn't want her to life, but she was older. She could have probably, moved out years.
She wasn't, and years on the road she wasn't there, but they might have considered her liability. So you can think of this 2 ways. One, that they really did believe in what they said and thought the zombie thing, therefore they didn't think they were killing like a human being per se. I know it's bizarre. Or they knew what they were doing and just used their religion as an excuse.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, I want everyone watching to understand exactly what you're looking at here, how close these poor children's bodies were to Chad Daybell's house. So this is where the bodies were located, and that is the house. And I've got an aerial view that thinks even better. Again, here's where the children were buried, and there's the Daybell house, just yards away from each other. Imagine looking out your window every day for 9 months, knowing 2 innocent children were buried right there. That's what prosecutors are alleging. So, Nate, authorities say Chad Daybell sent his then-wife Tammy a pretty shocking text the day they alleged Tylee was buried on the property. What was it?
Yeah, remember at this point, Tammy is still alive. She's the school librarian, and Chad sends her this message. Well, I've had an interesting morning. I felt like I should burn all of the limb debris by the fire pit before it got too soaked by the coming storms. While I did so, I spotted a big raccoon along the fence. I hurried and got my gun, and he was still walking along. I got close enough that one shot did the trick. He is now in our pet cemetery. Fun times. Remember, this is the middle of the day. Raccoons are nocturnal animals. So this was an interesting text to send.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's significant because the authorities say Tylee's body was dismembered and burned, right? So now you have a gunshot, you've got, a fire. They could sort of make an excuse of what was going on that might not involve a raccoon, but might involve two young children.
Exactly.
A recent hearing actually had the prosecutors play a jail phone call between Lori and Chad Daybell that occurred while authorities were searching his property.
Before we get there, so just I don't know if you guys caught it, but Chad's not his wife that did all these murders, his fifth or her fifth husband, but Chad was married before Lori, and they were saying this is time where she was still alive, but she was found dead. That's a whole other story. So murder death. So yeah, so that's why they said, oh, she was still alive at that point. Yes. There's like 5 murders or 5 deaths surrounding this whole thing. Yeah, it's really crazy. Yeah. But let's continue on with that phone call.
But just before they found the bodies, that timing is important. Listen to this.
Hello. Are you okay? So there's searching the property. The house right now? Yeah. Yeah. So Mark Means will be talking to you.
Mark Means is Lori's attorney. So Chad is basically telling Lori she'd be hearing from her lawyer soon. Now, later in the call, Chad even suggests that Lori should call her lawyer when they get off the phone. Nate, how surprising was that phone call to you?
I think the most surprising element of that call was Chad's demeanor. He was scared. He was nervous. And Lori was trying to console him, saying, you want me to pray for you? What do you want me to do? She sounded pretty normal. Chad seemed scared. That was probably the last time they've actually spoken with each other, because he was arrested just hours later, and they're not allowed to communicate with each other as they're behind separate facilities.
Nate, what have you uncovered about why Lori may have been involved with the gruesome deaths of her 2 youngest children?
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to get it in the pause. So another thing is too, I think they didn't go on in this show, particular episode, but Chad was like getting freaked out, and he was trying to, I think, bail out of there, like leave town, and they got him, and that's why they put him in jail. So I just want to throw that part in there. People are thinking, why did they hang out? He did kind of make an attempt to book it out of there.
Yeah.
Well, months before JJ and Tylee died, she told at least one friend that her children had turned into zombies, meaning evil spirits had entered their bodies, that they had become dark. And the only way to get rid of these zombies was to either pray them out of the body or to kill them. So she obviously believed that her children had become possessed, had become evil, and something needed to be done in order to fulfill God's will.
Lori and Chad Daybell, they've both been in jail for months now. They allegedly believed the world was going to end on July 22nd, which came and went. We're still here, and much of their family is now turned against them. Nate, what are your sources telling you about how they are holding up in jail?
Well, they're both in isolation. They don't have any contact with other inmates in the facility. Chad reads his scriptures and other religious books throughout the day. He says prayers. We know that Lori does the same thing. They're allowed to have a few visitors based on a list of pre-approved people. But other than that, they're keeping to themselves. A lot of people have said, is one of them going to turn on the other? Is Lori going to turn on Chad, or Chad turn on Lori? Every indication at this point, no, they are remaining loyal to each other, they are remaining faithful to each other, and they are maintaining their innocence.
In addition to the tragic deaths of Lori's kids, JJ and Tylee, we also know Lori's previous husband, Charles, was killed by her brother, and Chad's first wife, Tammy, mysteriously died just weeks before Chad and Lori got married.
So you can see where this is going. All these different,
all of these depths.
It goes back to like you know that Chad and Lori like planned this out. Now, what's interesting, and I wish I was a fly on the wall, did they really truly believe this new faith of theirs, and just believed each other's BS on this, and created that this person needed to go and this needed to be go because we were together in previous lives, and this is so romantic, we need to be together, or if they really, or did they say, took the mask off and said, hey, listen, I really want to be with you, but you're tied, I'm tied up. Let's just, let's just say this part of our religious beliefs. And, did they really, you get what I'm saying, Shirok? I wonder.
Right, but if you heard, it's basically said that Lori had two choices, saying that her kid, had some type of demon in a sense. But she did say that she can pray for them. Why she didn't take that route and just say, okay, if they have something, let's pray for them? Why did she? Even though they still saying it's innocent, but that part is kind of unclear.
Great point.
Of what happened and who did she tell that to? So that stuff we need to dig deeper into and finding out, if she said that and who she said it to and why she didn't take that option of just praying for her kids.
I wonder if I know JJ. I forgot now. I don't know if he has autism. I think he had something.
Yeah, he was adopted.
And the girl there, she might have saw something because people say, well, geez, they made this list of zombies and all this stuff for her kids. What about Chad's kids? So Chad's kids are untouchable. They're all in the light. It's really interesting. Obviously, this was very targeted.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish this up and we'll talk about further.
So right now, Lori and Chad are facing charges related to the claims they hid the children's bodies, but no murder charges have been filed yet. So Nate, do your law enforcement sources expect that to change anytime soon?
One would assume, but here's the thing, Dr. Oz, both of them aren't going anywhere. They're behind bars, $1 million bail on each of them. Prosecutors have one shot to get this right when it comes to murder charges. So they're going to take their time. They're going to make sure they have all of the evidence they need. They're going to make sure their case is strong and solid so that when that does happen, whether it be this year, next year, they are ready to take it before a jury.
Nate, I want to thank you very much for your superb reporting, as always.
Thanks, Dr. Oz.
Okay, we'll go back to that. So, and obviously they did just that, and because he has been convicted, so they did an excellent job.
Yes,
with all that.
I mean, they had the DNA, they had the evidence, and it was on his property. Even though I think there was something saying I didn't put that there, somebody else. Came. So I'm like,
you're awesome because that was exactly what I want to talk about. So guys, I know this didn't give, if people are searching and want to know the complete story to this, we mentioned a couple other YouTube shows that cover this.
They just have to Google the name.
Just Google the name, get more details. This was just enough to give you guys the background. The reason why we picked this specific episode is because, like I said, Chad just got, convicted and sentencing. In this particular video, Dr. Oz does a great job. I love his expressions. He just has this little smirk, on certain parts of this. But he did a great job. This had some background on this specifically, so we want to talk about that. But what did you just mention again? I forgot already.
Oh no, I was just saying the body was on his property. That's what I mentioned before.
Oh yeah.
So they found that they found the bodies. So that's like that's evidence right there.
They said,
and they actually just going to deep dive into Tammy's murder. It's just crazy. I mean,
all
of this, really,
even
5 people died as well. Remember?
Yeah.
So I'm going to give the answers to that, but
we're gonna get to that in a few minutes.
Yeah,
but
so I gotta.
But just to let you know, and Shrock, this. They were saying that, or he was saying, meaning Chad, was that somebody came in and tried to set me up and buried those kids and did all this stuff in my yard. Yeah, give me a break. And then there was something else he was trying to say. I think he blamed it. I have to go back and look, guys. I'm sorry. I don't want to say something that's inaccurate. So I got to research this again. I think it was either Lori's brother. He was blaming Lori. He was blaming somebody that already passed away. That was already died. So he was trying to say, oh no, it wasn't me, it was that person. But he died. So and people just want to set me up. So they're going to, went on my property and
that was
and like, really? And so here's a question for you, Chirac. Ready? Ready for the question? Do you think, because we talked about this in the Chris Watts and case about NK and him, do you think there's a chance if Chad gets in there that he may turn on Lori?
That's a good question. Chad turning on Lori. First of all, according to he's still staying stable. He's not going to turn on Lori. But if you think about it, he still has Tammy to think about. So I think he's still going to do time. So anyway, even if he turns or not, but he Tammy, I think he's definitely going to be convicted for her murder as well. Because that was kind of interesting. I don't know they did if they went deep into it, but he actually buried her and everything before they even did an autopsy, and that's kind of
Oh yeah.
suspicious right there. It just it's a
I'm
weird
just
case.
curious
It's a
because
weird case.
I don't.
And you also got to remember, I know this is just like sometimes, especially the kids, they're so vulnerable. And me, I have a passion for kids that, when people take their lives because,
Mm-hmm.
they can't help themselves. They are vulnerable kids. And one thing
Yeah.
is that when the kids disappeared, like they didn't go to school, like everybody's like, where are these kids? Where are these kids? She kept hiding. She wouldn't say anything. She's like, okay, where are these kids? Where's Tylee and JJ? And she kept just beating around the bush and trying to hide it as long as possible.
Yeah. Oh,
And
she's with this person, my
yeah,
friend, and she's like, "Why did you say anything about?" Yeah.
yeah. So
It,
that's kind of odd.
I think if anyone would break first, it could be Chad because a lot, like you said, he has the pre. Who knows? Maybe none of them will. I only know she's really delusional. I mean, I wish I had that video handy where she says, "Oh, in the past life, I was a warrior for Jesus. I was the most
Yeah,
powerful. I
whatever.
was really strong." Because she considers herself like at the level of Jesus. Let me say something like that. Like,
Yeah,
I can't even comprehend. I don't want to think about it because it hurt my brain. But
yeah. This is crazy.
yeah. So this is just a little taste. I thought this would be good as we're going through the whole chat thing. There's a lot more to this case. We may do more videos on this. What we're going to try to do is do some reactionary videos on like new cases that we're introducing for discussion, and then when we create our own videos, we usually do it on a specific
Yes,
topic or a deeper dive. So. More to come. But you ready for the question?
yes. Let's do this
All
question.
right, here we go. Let me switch it over here. Do. Out of Lori's 5 husbands, how many are still alive? The answer 2, 3, or 4, and the answer is
Yes.
3. 3 are still alive, and of course, we're not going to leave you guys hanging with just the answer. We take it a little step further. We're going to give you specifics. So hopefully you got the names right here. Lori's 5 husbands, Nelson, William, Joseph, Charles, and Chad. Number 3, they said some reports said natural causes. A lot more say heart attack. That's still under investigation, as you guys know, because there are a lot of things that can cause different things. But basically, Joseph is not with us, and Charles was shot by Lori's brother. So that leaves 3
Yes.
husbands
How many
left
y'all
out of 5.
did you get that correct?
Yeah, I'd like to know if you got that right.
Yeah, just put in the comments.
Yeah.
Interesting.
A lot of people
We like these
think,
questions.
well, first of all, a lot of people are amazed that she's married 5 times. Not judging, that happens. But
Yeah.
I think people didn't realize that she was married 5 times. People think she was only married like 2 or 3 times.
Right.
But most people probably think that there's 4 still alive. So,
Yeah.
but if you're new to this, no worries. We'll, there's a lot more on it, and we'll probably cover. We'll cover these cases if there's something new that comes up.
Exactly.
We're not gonna
Because we don't want to give you stale information
Yeah.
and data that you already know.
Things you already
So
know.
when something comes up, we definitely take it back just to give you a refresher, and then we're gonna come with the new information. So that's how we do our thing.
Yeah, because I think Shirok and I have been talking. As we're trying to do the best content for you guys.
Yeah.
And when we introduce a new case, there's a lot of times there's so many shows that kind of present the new case. We just rather react to that, or if there's something at a high level, as opposed to creating something new. We'd rather do that on new topics or something or interesting segment of a
Yes.
case. So, thank you guys so
Thank
much for
you.
being with us and hanging with us. And thanks again to Dr. Oz and the Idaho News there. Again, giving credit to them.
Did a great job.
Until next time.
Studio 70.
We are out.